Hello, hello, and welcome to another edition of the PHNX Suns pregame show brought to you by our friends at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. If you download the app right now and use the code PHNX when you sign up, after you place just a $1 bet on any NBA team to score a point, and they do, you're going to walk away with $100 in free bets. It is that easy. And again, the code is PHNX. I'm Lindsey Smith. We've got Gerald Bourguet and Espo here with me today. Guys, how you doing?
I forgot we were in Studio B, which is the all black decor, and then I made the mistake of wearing shorts. And this is just a really bad contrast right now.
Just feeling a little too light
I'm
to
just,
the wall.
Yeah, I apologize to anybody watching for that. So
I mean, I do this intentionally, but I always wear black, but I just blend right on into this studio.
I like the shirt though, Gerald.
Thank you.
You guys both have really awesome shirts on today.
And I was debating between wearing the Devin Booker shirt and the Gorilla shirt, and I'm glad that I didn't wear the Devin Booker shirt.
I would have felt very self-conscious if you were wearing the He's on Fire shirt as well.
I feel you. So it's Suns at Rockets tonight. It is the second game of their 3-game road trip, the first of a back-to-back.
Mm-hmm.
They should win this game. There's no reason that they shouldn't win this game. But back-to-backs are weird. Even both the first and second game of back-to-backs are always weird. But we've got a lot of tidbits kind of surrounding this one. You guys want to talk a few of the tidbits?
Sure.
Here in this one?
Tidbit it up, Gerald. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, for starters, like the big thing for me is that early in the season, the Suns were not generating enough threes. They just weren't taking many threes, and they weren't making many threes. So after they knocked down a season-best 18 threes on Friday, they're now averaging almost 14 three-point makes per game over the last 5. And compared to the first 6 games, they were only making about 9. So they're averaging about 5 made threes more per game over these last 5 games. And they're also shooting about 41%, which is second in the league over that stretch. Over the first 6 games, it was under 32%, which was 26th. So taking more threes, making more threes, something we talked about when we were trying to avoid hitting that panic button, and it's finally happening now. They're all the way up to 6th in the league in three-point percentage overall. So, small sample sizes, obviously, but a step in the right direction on the three-point front.
Well, and I think what you just mentioned plays into my tidbit here that the Suns lead the NBA in field goal percentage this season at 48.1%. Obviously, when you start making more threes, your percentage is going to go up, but it still doesn't feel like they're making a lot of their shots. It hasn't felt, a quarter here, a quarter there, but it hasn't felt like they've had that game like last season where that offense is really rolling. Those shots start to get made. I was actually surprised when I saw this because the eye test doesn't quite feel like they're shooting the best percentage in the league right now.
Right.
Go ahead.
And it finally did kind of feel that way against the Grizzlies, who have the worst defense in the league. So that's going to happen when you play a defense like that.
Right, like does that one even fully count? Like it's debatable, right?
Yeah.
Like
we'll see once they play. They've got the Rockets tonight. They have the Timberwolves tomorrow, which might be tough because it's second night of back-to-back. But we'll see once they start playing more elite defenses whether this momentum they're starting to build can carry over like that.
Right. So my tidbit has nothing to do with the team overall, but it has everything to do with the team leader, Chris Paul. He joined a gentleman named Johnny Moore from the 1983 to 84 season as the only players in NBA history with 120 or more assists, 25 or more steals, and fewer than 30 turnovers through the first 11 games of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Moore.
So I didn't know who Johnny Moore was either, and I consider myself pretty knowledgeable. He actually led the league in assists in the 1981-82 season. So
he was drafted in 79.
Yes.
Okay. I just love that Gerald
That's all
goes,
I know.
I think I know basketball pretty well. Well, looking at me like, I expected you not to know who Johnny Moore was.
Maybe I should have disclaimered that. But no, like I consider myself like a young historian of the game. Like I'll go back and watch old games and like read about all these random dudes from before I was born. I had never heard of Johnny Moore, but apparently he led the league in assists one season. So that's a thing.
But it's crazy to me that it's since 1983, the year I was born. It's Chris Paul and some guy that nobody's heard of. All these great point guards, the John Stocktons, Mark Price, Steve Nash, none of these guys, Magic Johnson, none of these guys, just Johnny Moore and Chris Paul.
At least not in the first 11 games of the season. So
Sundress Dunks isn't wrong. He said that's a creative player.
yes. Also, SJ in the comments, welcome. We're happy to have you here. Your first pregame show of the season. We're here every game, so come hang out with us more often. We'd love to have you.
And usually there's more Cove crazies in there. But you and Sundress and Eric can hold it down for right now.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so let's do a brief overview of tonight's game. Obviously, the Suns are riding a 7-game win streak, looking to make it 8 here tonight. Houston Rockets, on the other hand, Espo, you want to tell us how they're doing?
The league's worst losing streak so far at 10 games. Yeah. They're 1-11. Not good.
I mean, listen.
They started 1-1. Things were going great.
Oops.
Can relate. It gets better.
No.
Not always.
Sometimes.
Eventually.
Maybe.
It might take you a decade, but you'll get there eventually.
Maybe. Are you going to trade for the league's best point guard?
Maybe.
Maybe. Good luck, Houston, is all I'm saying. All right?
Yeah.
I feel for my homies over there, though.
I don't.
I do.
I don't.
You kind of got to hope, if you're the Rockets, that Jalen Green is your Devin Booker and Christian Wood is your DeAndre Ayton, and you can get to the point where this young core is like attractive enough for them to make a kind of Suns caliber move. But that's 3-4 years down the line.
I didn't mean to make this be like a feel bad for the Houston Rockets or anything, like a little bit, but also like, sorry, we're going to hopefully smack the you-know-what out of you tonight.
Yeah.
So, not sorry.
I don't forgive real easy, and I remember the mid-'90s. So screw you, Houston. Enjoy your losing ways is all I have to say.
This one's for you, Mario Ellie.
Any of them. The Kiss of Death, Robert Horry, any of you guys in Houston history, enjoy being bad, okay?
Yeah, so that is our overview because, like, what else are we going to get into? No. But we can take a look at an injury report for tonight to see what we're working with on the court. For the Phoenix Suns, DeAndre Ayton is out again. Abdul Nader was listed as questionable on yesterday's game notes, but he was confirmed that he'll be playing tonight.
Target Devin Booker will be out there.
And then for the Rockets, basically nothing because John Wall has been hurt. So
overpaid / busted. My God,
you caught up to it. There you go.
I felt bad to say it.
Is it inaccurate? He may not play it all this year because the Rockets don't want him to, and he makes too much money to cut or trade. So overpaid and busted is why he's not playing.
Oh man, I can't wait for our first DNP old on this injury report. If we're just going full savage with the injury reports this year,
I felt like John Wall deserved more than just old. So I took care of him. Don't worry.
Yeah,
and I refused to remove Dario off.
He deserved more, so you called him busted.
We can leave Dario on there, but I'm not gonna say it every game because I feel like that's also just real sad.
Yeah.
Speaking of DeAndre Ayton, because we've talked about this quite a bit over the last however many games that he has been out, but Monty shared a very, very brief update on him today, so we'll play that real quick for you.
Nothing different from yesterday, just conditioning and just getting himself able to play the way we want him to play, the way he's comfortable playing.
So here's the thing. We've heard the conspiracy theories. We've seen them circulate on Suns Twitter. Like, they're fun sometimes. They're a little bit annoying at times. But give us a little bit of realistic reasons to why DeAndre could still be out.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, it's tempting to wonder if, the Jalen Rose stuff played a factor, if it was about the contract, if it's about, this Sarver investigation. But really, like, at the end of the day, the fact that the Suns are playing like every other day and are having off days in between to get their proper rest in with such a rigorous schedule, normally you need a guy to go 5-on-5 to assess whether he's ready to return. And they just haven't really had that opportunity because they haven't had any practice days really where they're doing 5-on-5. So it is kind of weird that he was out for a game with this contusion and then came back and looked okay and then has been out ever since then. I get why it'd be easy to kind of lean into the conspiracy theory, but it could just be as simple as they haven't had many practice days. It still might be sore. And so they're waiting until they get an opportunity to do that 5-on-5 and making sure that they're being cautious with a guy who's intrinsic to their success.
Yeah, believe me, I've looked into this. I've asked. There's nothing going on in terms of these conspiracy theories. And believe you me, if there was, I'd let you know. I love a good conspiracy theory.
Good conspiracy theory, but it's not the case.
No, and like the whole all of a sudden DA heard Jalen Rose say that and that he decided he was going to sit out. Let's be honest. He would have known. It either was said directly to him or said to somebody that would have let him know if that whole thing were true and like
if what Jalen said was true, that would not have been the first time that DeAndre had heard that.
And it's not, because ESPN retracted
exactly.
the whole thing.
It was a hypothetical, apparently. But look, it's a bad contusion. And why rush him back? You have the longest win streak in the NBA. You have a hot hand in Frank, Kaminsky. So why not let him get fully healthy? You're not trying to win the beginning of the season. You're trying to win a title.
Right.
So why mess around with any of these? And that'd be the same if Devin were out and they were on a 7-game win streak, or CP3. No need to rush a guy back. The tides have turned. They're not 1-3 anymore. Right. I think it's fine to let him.
And just for a little bit of perspective too, now this isn't always the case, but when you're playing a game, you have one day off, playing a game, have one day off, playing a game. Typically in practice, you don't go as hard as you would, say, if you had 2 games off in a row. And that's or 2 days off in a row, excuse me. That's even if you took an entire day as a rest day, like no practices. You're not going to go 5-on-5 majority of the time in those practices. It's going to be kind of more like a shoot around, like a walkthrough kind of a situation where you're watching film, you're going over some of the more intricate things about the plays and what you need to work on, or game planning for the next game. So like you said, the opportunity for practice hasn't really been there, but also the opportunity for practice at that level hasn't really been there either. So
yeah, and it's like, I think ever since that 1-3 start, like the guys had all said, like, we need to start playing in a way that's not, possession by possession the way that you do in a playoff series. We need to just like start letting the ball fly, moving the ball, getting everyone involved. Because that's what you need to do to win in the regular season. So everything we've seen since that 1-3 start has been with the long game in mind. This is a team that knows they can make a deep playoff run. They see that the West is pretty wide open this year. And so, they're not going to rush DeAndre Ayton back. They don't need him right now. Like, Frank is playing out of his mind. JaVale McGee is good enough in those 5-minute spurts to get you through. Like, in the playoff series, they will absolutely need him. You're not going to get by with Frank Kaminsky or JaVale McGee in a playoff series. But for now, they're okay. Ride the hot hand, get everyone involved, keep hoisting those threes, and keep the long game in mind.
In a perfect world, he comes back Monday night against the Timberwolves and Cat, and then just destroys Cat. Just because I love when that happens, and it just shuts a lot of people
So are
up.
you creating a new conspiracy theory that they're just planning this narrative for Ayton to destroy Cat?
Yeah, they're just going to sit him out until every Minnesota game.
He came to them this morning and was like, yeah, I can go. They're like, no.
You wait.
No,
you wait 24 hours.
You got to spay and or neuter that cat tomorrow night. So let's go.
Mike B in the comments said, don't take any teams for granted. And then earlier in a comment, he said, Suns will and should come out tough tonight. Anything can happen. Look at the Cardinals and what happened to them today. Yes, absolutely. I mean, we've seen it on the reverse side too, not to constantly bring this up, but it is what it is. It's what we know. Where teams took a night off against the Suns, and then all of a sudden the Suns were like, okay, I'll take this W. You can't take nights off against anybody. It just
I feel like you can against Houston, all right? Because they have lost by 10 plus points 8 different times this season and have trailed by double digits 9 different times. So if you get up double digits on the Houston Rockets, you are likely winning a game.
Yes.
So,
but still, anything can happen.
Why do I feel like that's a clip that's going to get played back in postgame?
I hope not. You better not have jinxed us. I mean, you did crap all over the basketball gods the other night, so
yeah, he denied their existence.
Everything is going to be your fault moving forward. Whatever happens, if it's bad, it's on you as well. I hope you're ready.
It sounds like my home life now.
Oh no.
By the way, Chris, we are not calling him Egyptian Poppy. He's target Devin Booker, and you can accept that.
Oh, Poor Egyptian poppy.
So with that, we had to get one of them in today.
I think it's pyramid poppy also.
Yes. Who is the favorite in tonight's game? I mean, who is the favorite? What are the odds? I guess.
Let's be
Tell me what
honest.
they are.
The Suns are favored by 8.5 points, which is interesting because the Rockets have lost by an average of 7.8 points per game. So this is slightly higher than the average that the Rockets have lost by. But I think that that's a pretty safe bet to take the Suns minus 8.5 in this game. If you're on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, I think it's worth taking that. I don't see the Suns. Again, knock on wood, touch metal, whatever your preference is, but I don't see the Suns losing or winning by fewer than 9 points tonight.
Well, why don't we reveal the picks that we made for tonight's game? I just took right on the cusp. I was at 9.
9.
I'm going to go over, but also not.
Right there.
Just right there. I don't know.
I went with 12, and Espo was
Dang,
feeling
Espo,
himself.
I love that.
I'm feeling saucy.
I like it.
If there's a team you're gonna trounce and win by 22 points, it's a team that has the resume that the Rockets have right now. Plus, you look at it, and Christian Wood hasn't been shooting well over the last handful of games. They're just things don't feel like they're going in the right direction for Houston. Well, with the Suns, we've seen the polar opposite. My biggest fear is they win by 22 and Frank drops 33 points tonight, and then
Nobody else
it's
is
very
fearful
weird.
of that.
It's tattoo time.
It's
We're excited
yeah.
for it.
But by the way, what is with Saul? He decides to go hang out with the
I
Cardinals
mean, that's
people.
a loaded question.
Yeah.
So, like,
Where do you want to start?
How much
Touche.
time do we have? No, I'm just
Touche.
kidding. We love you,
Look,
Saul.
Look, Saul decides to hang out with the Cardinals peeps right now, and then he picks the Rockets by 903 points. I don't know what's up with
That's
that.
worse than my pick.
Gutsy
It
pick.
is. It
Gutsy.
is.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Sheesh. Well, Espo, you got keys for us?
I do have keys.
What are your keys to
I-
tonight's game?
No good Wood.
Oh,
Don't
dear.
let Christian Wood get going offensively. He's struggled as of late. And if you just play defense on him, I mean, he's averaging 11 points on 37.8 shooting in the last 4 games.
these keys.
There is no reason to let him get going in this. Play better defense than the Cardinals.
Shouldn't be too hard.
It really shouldn't. Just show up. You should be able to do it. But look, that defense against a team like this, if you play even close to your defensive potential, you're shutting down the Rockets. And then I don't know what the third is. There we go. Launch threes, not rockets. All right? Shoot those threes. Don't let the Rockets get going and get cooking, and you'll be all right. I think this is an easy win for the Suns.
Who approved that first key? How did that get through
I'm
peer
the
editing?
approver of everything, all right?
He did.
I'm the graphics editor. I'm the content head. I'm the writer. I'm the key maker.
Hold the phone. Hold the phone.
Oh,
Gerald's the
man.
writer.
Oh, no. I meant writer on the graphic stuff. And the,
on that one specific
Gerald is the
graphic.
beat writer. I am not that, and nor will I ever be. So
I was like, Gerald's over here about to throw some side eyes at you, catching you over
love
there.
you, Gerald.
Where did it go? Robert York in the chat said, "What's with the Rick and Morty machine on the screen? It's not Rick and Morty. It's for the Rockets. Get
It's-
it? Like a
I do like the
rocket
Rick and Morty
ship?
type aesthetic to it, though.
I do too.
I mean, that works. But
Do
did
we-
you see up in the little right hand corner the little?
Do we? Oh, we have
bloop, bloop, bloop?
Houston.
Do
We
it
have a
again.
problem.
Do it one more
Obvious-
time, Jacob.
Obviously, we don't have the man behind the
There it goes.
Mac, Shane Diefenbach, because this is effort here, and we don't see that on a regular basis. Jacob's behind the Mac tonight, and we appreciate it. By the way, Robert York says, "Does Espo have the keys to my heart?" I don't know, but
The answer is yes.
I have the keys to everybody's heart. I
The
guess.
answer is yes. Also, Buck Dog tuning in from the UK. What's up?
Yes.
Hello. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us. He said it's still midnight here, but better than the usual 3 a.m. And also finally get to see you fine peeps on this sweet new show.
Appreciate
Buck,
you.
happy to have you here. And you know what? Just get up slightly earlier every day and start your day with us at 3 a.m. And then you'll have a really great day. You'll have to end it at like 6 p.m., but that's all right.
But this would, last season and this season, would be a good time to like make that your starter of the day, because then majority of the time, hopefully, you'll start your day with a win and it'll be a good day. Like if this was a couple seasons ago, I'd be like, definitely don't wake up.
Just sleep. Don't even bother watching the replay in that case. By the way, are you guys, is there a celebration I don't know about? I just noticed there's Fireball on the table between you guys.
These are left over from another show, but we might steal them and take them to the postgame show with us.
I feel like we need to go give them to the Cardinals postgame because they need
blessings.
it today. So
Blessings. That's a tough one. All right, guys, before we wrap up our pregame show to go grab snacks and drinks for the start of the game, anything else you would like to talk about?
Frank will have 29 points tonight and no more.
I would be so pissed if Frank got 29 points.
That would be a fantastic celebration.
It's like, what's the point?
You bastard. Score 0 if you're only going to score 29.
Exactly that. I know he doesn't know what's on the line, but we got to eventually get in front of him and tell him.
Hold on. Where did Buck Dog hear I'm getting Frank Kaminsky's face tattooed on my butt? That is not what that was not what it was.
I've been telling everyone that.
That's what I heard you say.
You all suck.
I'm going to write an investigative story about it.
Suck.
I don't know. All right. Well, in this 9-minute break, I encourage you guys to head over to gophnx.com. Take a look around. If you haven't become a member, look into becoming a member and check out our merch, because then you guys can look really cool like Espo and Gerald do right now.
Hopefully skinnier than me, but you can look good in it. It feels nice. I'll say that.
And for our members right now, our PHNX Suns t-shirts are buy one, get one free. So if you haven't gone over to our locker in a while, now is the perfect time to do so.
And it actually works now because Saul fixed my mistake. So you're going to get a buy one, get one free when you use the code.
Yeah,
the deal of the week works now.
Deal of the week.
Earlier.
Hey, my fault. Just send all complaints to Saul at gophnx.com.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Come hang out with us on Twitter during the game at PHNX_Suns. And then join us right back here on our YouTube channel after the game wraps up for our post-game show, where hopefully we will be hanging in the VIP lounge. Until then, Espo.
Ahoy hoy.